There's a moment that lives in my memory with crystal clarity. I'm sitting at my desk on the last day before a long weekend. The company has just wrapped a successful fundraising season. People are celebrating, and I'm accidentally eavesdropping on a conversation that changes everything. The CEO asks my boss how the celebration lunch went. My boss mentions my name, and the CEO says, "Why was Jen Fast there?" In that one sentence, I realized something I'd been trying not to know. After 30 years of doing everything hustle culture told me to do, I was invisible, and my body was done negotiating. Welcome to The Comeback Show, part of the Comeback Collective by me, Jen Fast. This is a safe place for women recovering from burnout or rebuilding after a major life transition, because career isn't the only thing that can break you, and it's not the only thing worth rebuilding. Every week, we're going to talk about what it really takes to come back to yourself, without hustle, without perfection, and without doing it alone. You'll hear honest stories, practical resets, and the kind of permission most of us were never given. I'm Jen, and if you're in that season where you feel exhausted, untethered, or like life changed faster than you could keep up, you're in the right place. Today, I'm starting at the beginning. This is the story of the system that almost destroyed me, and the myths I had to bust to finally feel alive again. Hustle culture promised me everything: security, status, success. What it actually delivered was a 6-figure salary, complete invisibility, and a heart that was literally breaking under the stress. For 30 years, I believed the lie that my worth equaled my productivity. Work harder than everyone else. Prove your commitment. Be indispensable. Do it all. And I did. I climbed ladders. I carried teams. I solved problems nobody wanted to touch. I kept things running. And somewhere along the way, I became invisible to the people in charge and to myself. Here's what nobody tells you. Hustle culture doesn't care about your health. It doesn't care about your relationships. It doesn't care about your joy. It only cares about extracting as much labor as possible, while convincing you that your worth depends on it. And I spent decades believing that lie. By my late 40s, the cost was impossible to ignore. I'd gained 60 pounds. My sleep was fragmented. My anxiety was constant. I felt resentment toward my job, my marriage, my life. And underneath it all was this pervasive guilt, like if I were just disciplined enough, strong enough, better enough, I wouldn't be struggling. But my body was keeping score. After my hip replacement at 49, my orthopedic surgeon warned me, if you don't lose weight, you'll likely need your other hip replaced too. And then my cardiologist said the sentence that changed everything. If your career is incompatible with your health, you have to make some choices. Let that sink in. A medical specialist was telling me my job was damaging my heart. Not you should take a vacation. Not try yoga. Choices. That's when I knew I couldn't just manage burnout. I had to leave. My therapist said something that hit me like a bell. You're bringing level 10 skills into a level 2 job. Of course I was frustrated. Of course I felt invisible. I was overqualified, undervalued, and slowly dying from the stress of it all. My husband and my daughter told me they'd support me 100% if I chose to leave. But the real permission came from a simple test I did that Monday of Labor Day weekend. I imagined never going back. My heart soared. I felt light. I felt free. Then I imagined going back the next day. I felt deflated, stressed, dreading it with every fiber of my being. My body told me the truth. My mind had been avoiding. This job is killing you. Leave. I didn't give 2 weeks' notice. I didn't craft a graceful exit strategy. My only meeting that day was with my boss. I told him, straightforwardly, today would be my last day. He asked me to spend the day documenting my duties and recommending successors. I said no, and then I said something I'd never had the courage to say before. I think it's best for the company to experience the consequences of the situation it created. I spent the rest of the day clearing my calendar, canceling meetings, and refusing phone calls. I responded to messages from the co-workers who mattered to me. And then I shut my laptop. No fanfare, no goodbye party, just freedom. Here's what surprised me. I felt no loss whatsoever. After 30 years in corporate, I expected grief, a crisis, a spiral. But the truth was, I'd never felt like I belonged. Losing the title didn't feel like losing myself. It felt like taking off a coat that never fit. Within days, I promoted myself to CEO of my own business and my own life. And that felt like coming home. If you're listening and thinking, this is me, do yourself a favor and don't rely on your memory later. Go to comebackletter.substack.com and subscribe to the Comeback Letter. It's my weekly note for women rebuilding after burnout and life transitions. Okay, back to the story. Leaving doesn't magically fix everything. At first, I was busy with logistics, packing up my rental condo, moving back into the family home, cutting expenses, paying off high-interest debt. But it was busy that felt purposeful instead of frantic. Emotionally, I felt freer than I ever had. Physically, I had more energy than I could remember. And then the messy middle arrived. I hit plateaus. I felt guilt about resting, guilt about not being productive enough, guilt about the pace of my business launch. And I realized something. Guilt is a constant companion when you've spent decades in hustle culture. The difference now is that I have tools. I have support. And I have permission to feel it without letting it drive the car. Hustle culture sold me a lot of lies. Let me call them out. Myth number 1. Your productivity needs to look like everyone else's. If you've ever thought, why can't I do it like they do it? This one is for you. Different brains, different bodies, different seasons. Trying to fit into a mold that wasn't designed for you is a fast track to burnout. Myth number 2. Doing more makes you more productive. When you slow down, you can think. When you can think, you make better decisions. When you make better decisions, you waste less energy. Myth number 3. Perfectionism is a virtue. Perfectionism isn't a strength. It's a cage. It delays your life. Myth number 4. Work-life balance means 50-50. Balance isn't math. It's alignment. Some seasons require more from family. Some seasons require more from work. Some seasons require more from you. Myth number 5. You need to perform busyness to prove your worth. This one is brutal. Corporate culture rewards visibility. It rewards the appearance of hard work. But you don't owe anyone your exhaustion as proof. After I left, I had to rebuild my entire understanding of what working even meant. Here's what actually works for me. My clearest thinking happens in the morning, before breakfast, during what used to be my commute time. Evenings are when I'm tired and also weirdly creative, so that's when I design. I take active breaks throughout the day, walks, workouts, chores, because movement clears my head. I build rest into every day and every week. I protect sleep like my life depends on it, because it does. And yes, I use AI, not as a replacement for my thinking, as a jumpstart when my brain is stuck. I brain dump, I ask for prompts, and then I refine. And the biggest shift? I stopped chasing big dramatic overhauls. I started celebrating small, consistent wins. Small wins build confidence. Confidence changes your mindset. Mindset changes your identity. I want to pause and acknowledge something important. I was able to leave because my circumstances allowed it. I have a husband whose business is profitable. I had savings and investments. That's privilege, and I don't take it lightly. But I also know what it's like not to have a safety net. I was a single mom for years. I know the terror of needing your paycheck. I know the exhaustion of having no choice but to stay. So if that's you right now, I want you to hear me clearly. I see you. Your constraints are real. And there is still a way forward. It might not look like mine. It might take longer. It might require more support, more planning, more creativity. But it exists. And that's what the Comeback Collective is here for. Not to pressure you, not to optimize you, to help you come back to yourself, then build what's next, in a way that fits your real life. So here's my question for you. What hustle culture myth has held you the tightest? Is it the belief that you have to do it like everyone else? That rest has to be earned? That your worth has to be proven? If you want, you can share your answer, because this is a collective. You're not doing this alone. And if today's episode felt like a breath of fresh air, here are your next steps. 1. Go to my homepage at jfriedmanfast.com and look for the Comeback Collective section. Start there. It'll help you find the support that fits the season you're in. 2. Subscribe to the Comeback Letter, my weekly note for women rebuilding after burnout and life transitions. It's where I share the most practical resets, the honest behind the scenes, and what I'm learning in real time. You can find it at comebackletter.substack.com. 3. Please make sure you're subscribed to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform. And please rate The Comeback Show. 5-star reviews go a long way towards helping others find us who may need to hear these messages. And if you're thinking, okay, but I need a framework, I need a path, that's coming. Inside the Comeback Collective, I teach my blueprint for burnout recovery, the method I use to stop living in survival mode and start rebuilding with clarity, steadier rhythms, and self-trust. You're not too old. You're not too far gone. You're not too broken. You're right on time. I'm Jen Fast, and this is The Comeback Show.